Hello, everybody. This is Etienne Marcel with the Sports Inquirer, and welcome to another edition of Fighting Peaches. On this edition, we'll be hearing from Georgia State football head coach Dell McGee as the Panthers prepare to visit Georgia Southern in their annual rivalry contest, looking for their first win in Sun Belt play. Before we get to Dell and everything Georgia State Panthers, as always, head to the mothership to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. Just look us up under Etienne Marcel with the Sports Inquirer. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, including YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. As I mentioned, I was able to speak with Georgia State football head coach Dell McGee earlier this week as the Panthers do make that trip down to Statesboro to face the Eagles. And Georgia State continuing struggles so far this year, coming off of a disappointing loss at home to Appalachian State. So they're looking to get a victory and at least try to march their way towards 6 wins in bowl eligibility. Let's hear from Dell, and then we'll have some thoughts afterwards. Enjoy.
And the rules of engagement for this game, playing for somewhat of a state title in our league. It's a Eastern Division game, which is important for us to get back on the right track. Still got some guys that are down that we're trying to battle through injuries, and those other guys that have been getting reps, they have been doing a good job of getting extra film. The guys that are down, they're doing a good job of getting extra treatment and trying to get back to the team. Coach Helton, they do a lot of things on offense. They shift motion, show some empty. J.C. French makes everything go for that offense. He's a very good quarterback, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best ones in our league. He's very streaky. He can run. He has a very good release, quick release on some of the RPO and screen passes. They got two really good backs. And the offensive line is very solid up front. They're kind of maulers. They really engage and try to stay connected. So it's going to be important that our D-line creates a new line of scrimmage and try to bottle up their run game. I do think they're a throw-first football team, so everything goes through number 4, Camden Brown. He's an awesome receiver. He's got good size. He does a good job running out the catch. He catches the deep ball. He's a main target for French, along with number 1. Very explosive in the slot. He's their kick returner as well. He's good in the return game. So they got some really good players at the skill spots. They've been scoring points on everybody. And we got to do a good job of negating the big play, limiting explosive plays, trying to stop the run as best we can. And offensively, we got to move the ball, embrace the crowd noise, especially on third downs. We worked some of the crowd noise today. Thought our kids did a decent job with it. And that was something that was continued from the last game. We didn't really have any pre-snap penalties from a false start standpoint. So that was encouraging from last game moving into this game. That'll be ultimately important this game so we don't create a worse third down situation or put us behind the sticks on earlier down. So we really got to lock into the details of our assignments and continue to progress with the game plan as we move on throughout the week.
No, I asked yesterday on the Sunbelt call, competition, the state of war with quarterback, but is it still fully open at this point, or is it just you don't want to talk about it publicly?
It's fully open at this point.
Okay.
Just talking about that in general, we saw in App State probably maybe the most players maybe so far this season play in the rotation. Is that just more for evaluation, or you mentioned some injuries? Are you just at that stage of season where you're just trying to find players that are really capable maybe at this stage?
We got injuries, so we can play without 3 or 4 D linemen that normally play, which don't count the other 4 D linemen that got hurt prior to the season. So that's just a next man up mentality. We do had tight end go down. Grant Hall, you had to play a lot more lane Waddle had to play a lot more. So when injuries occur, next man up is our mentality. And, Grant did some good things. So did Lane. And they're going to have a bigger role and a bigger game this Saturday night down in Statesboro.
Word you used to describe the team on Saturday was fragile, in some of those moments, just not handling the adversity well. I guess, how at this point in the season can you go about trying to fix that? And is it some of a disappointment that 18 games in, you're still talking about words like that to describe your team?
No, not really, because you got so many new guys in the portal, and you never fully understand some of the guys' mentality, and that has to be created. And sometimes things go like that because of the guys that you bring in from a mental standpoint. So we got to continue to stress a championship culture, which we do every single day, and it takes a championship mindset. When things are hard, and you got to make choices on how we're going to attack adversity. We can't stop believing. You can't stop chopping wood, as I like to say. You just got to keep plugging away. The scoreboard doesn't matter. What matters is how you perform and continue to perform at the highest level. And you always got to create the best version of yourself. And we just got to continue to do that when things are not going in our favor, because all it takes is a play. And I've been a part of those comebacks and things of that sort. So it's a belief system that everyone has to have, and our leaders have to command it. And we definitely command it as coaches, and we keep preaching it to our guys. And we just got to continue that. And it starts this week with us. Have another opportunity if adversity does strike. And it's not going to be perfect down there in a hostile environment, and we know that. We've addressed that with our coaches and our players, and we got to respond to adversity when it does strike and keep chopping and playing and play for 60 minutes. We have not played a complete game. We haven't played our best football, and all that does lie on myself, and I take full responsibility of what we've put on the field thus far. But we also got to take on this as players, coaches, and the situations that we have, put our guys in, and try not to stress them as much, because when you go into hostile territory, the game plan needs to shrink, especially offensively, and make sure that we're trying to execute things we can execute.
Yeah, just about the offense strategy. Is that just reliant? Because looking at it from last week, just this season, Ted and Javon, and give Brady credit for this one, but I think 50% of the targets have been to those two guys. Is that just even more imperative just to focus on those two guys? Could you say simplifying the offense? Is that just going to be a big strategy coming into Saturday?
Not necessarily a strategy. You still got to take what the defense is giving you. Of course, you want to target your best players, just like everyone does. If you look at anybody team, they're going to target their best players too. So it's not just us that's targeting their best players. That's what football is. It's not a situation where you're going to throw a ball to somebody that hadn't earned the reps or done things correctly in practice. Their production and what they do with the football warrants those touches and targets.
When you evaluate the quarterback situation, what do you like about the two guys that have been playing the most? What are the main characteristics?
Yeah, they're two different quarterbacks. One has an elite arm talent, but less mobility, and things got to be kind of perfect up front if your protection is on point. We provide time for him to throw the ball, and he can be very successful. First drive that we got the ball, not to get any points after 13, 15 play drive, and had an opportunity to score. Threw the ball to Ted, and he normally comes down with that catch. That probably would have scored, and that's the momentum piece. And that's what I mean by a team being fragile, because when you're in this mindset of woe is me, or when something bad happens, you revert back to different moments or past moments that really don't have anything to do with this present moment. So getting our kids to lock in on the details, and all you can do is trust your training and move on to the next moment, which is the next play.
You mentioned Ted. You targeted him 18 times in the last game. How important is it to get him involved, keep him involved in the offense?
Yeah, it's always important to do that. Our offense moves a lot better when he is targeted. see when he's not targeted. What's the kind of the outcome from a production standpoint in the passing game? He's one of our better players, and just like any team, they're going to try to get the ball to their best players based on what the defense is doing. And if they're trying to take him away, then other guys have to answer the bell, and we got to make the proper calls to get the other people the ball. And that goes along with the progression of the quarterback as well. But everything starts up front, and if we can control the line of scrimmage, ID things, and get movement on the line of scrimmage, then we have a chance. I don't want to have to throw the ball 60 times, 50 times in the game. I know being behind caused us to do that a little bit in this past game, but that's not the formula that I want to have as an offense.
Keeping wide receiver corner going, Javon is a guy that looked like maybe started out playing a lot in the slot, but moving around, have him in the backfield a few times. I guess, when did it start seeing that maybe he's a guy you could maybe use in different ways and line him up different places in the offense and help out the offense that way?
It just goes with what teams are doing and what they afford you the opportunity to do. And then he's a good player on the perimeter, have something to do with the perimeter blocking, not having a small guy block where he's in the slot where you're trying to maximize that. So a lot of different details go into why you do what you do. He's a good player that needs touches, and we got to find ways to get him the ball in a lot of different ways.
You've been on both sides of this rivalry. How do you see it through your eyes?
Like I said, it's a state championship. It means a lot, and it's an Eastern Division opponent, which makes it even greater because you got to win in your conference, and that's one thing, part of our standard of always wanting to make it a nightmare for the East opponents because you're going to play them every single year, and that makes it more important. But what makes this one more important this week is it's our next one that's up. We're not going to build the game up and create anxiety for our kids. We just got to go out and perform on the road in a hostile environment, and I can't wait to see our guys accept that challenge on the road and play well for 60 minutes.
You anticipate hostility in Georgia at Statesboro?
Absolutely. So just part of it, they got a good fan base, long tradition. They packed their stadium. I know they're having a white out, so they'll be juiced up.
I've got.
All right, and that was Dell McGee, Georgia State football head coach, as the Panthers do prepare to face Georgia Southern. You see just the struggles on the field and the potential to see more players involved on the roster. And we've seen the roster expand as far as the players go due to injuries, but then also just trying to find some better performances. So we'll see how Georgia State does on Saturday. Thank you for listening and watching this latest edition of the Fighting Peaches. As always, head to the mothership to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video host, including YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.